This is a copyright fair use notice. Okay, I know some of you are going to say, what, your first review is about Trigun? Come on, it's such an old anime. Well, to be honest, yes, it is old. But you know what? I don't care. It's still a classic and I'm going to give my own interpretation of this series. So with that said, let me continue. The series takes place on a harsh desert planet, and on this planet has a Wild West setting if you can't tell. And our main protagonist is a man named Vash, and he's the man with a $60 billion double-dollar bounty on his head. Now with a bounty like that, you'd think he must be the most despicable, terrible villain ever, right? With it being that high, he must be a badass killer, right? Well, just watch this. Before I show you guys anything, I just want to say that if you haven't seen Trigun, I would suggest you stop this video and go and watch the series, because the first episode is paramount and important. So watch the first episode first, then come back and watch this video. With that said, let me continue.
I was gonna suffocate a minute there. Over there! Perfect shot. Dangerous toys are fun, but you could get hurt. Well, did I work off the donuts and the $10 double dollars?
It can't be him. There's just no way.
Nope, he's a freaking Looney Tune. The series in the first half is all goofy and light-hearted, which is comforting and laid back. But in the second half, it gets all serious, but doesn't drop its goofy tone completely. Actually, Vash, who is voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, which is his first voice acting for an anime character, isn't what you think he is. He's actually a big goof with a big heart. But sometimes in the series, Vash seems to have two sides to him, a goofy side and a serious side. But throughout the series, you don't know if his serious side is genuine or just a front. And despite the bounty on his head and people trying to kill him for it, Vash believes all life is sacred and never takes a life, even if it's the life of a bad guy. Hell, he would go even as far as to save them, for example.
Don't kill him, please! Please don't shoot him! Don't do it! I'm begging you!
Later on in the series, we see where Vash gets this philosophy from, and his origins. And then you have other characters like Millie and Meryl, two insurance girls who is trying to track down Vash and stop him from causing any more damage. You have Millie, who is the hairhead, and Meryl, the no-nonsense of the two, who has it in her head through quarter of the series, thinking that the guy they keep running into isn't Vash, because she believes from his reputation he's a gunslinger that destroys everything in his path. They accompany Vash later on to keep an eye on him. Then you have Nicholas D. Wolfwood, who comes in the series later. Wolfwood is a travelling priest carrying a giant cross filled with weapons, like guns and a rocket launcher. Huh, must be a new sect. You know, if I wasn't such an atheist, I would definitely join that branch. I wonder if they hand out those to their followers. Anyways, Nicholas D. Wolfwood, which by the way, I wonder if he's related to these guys because of his initial D. He is also Vash's opposite. Now when I mean opposite, I mean this. When Vash is fighting someone, he tries not to kill anyone. But when D. Wolfwood is fighting, he isn't as much of a pushover to get out of a situation like Vash is. But at the same time, they have similar personalities, and having just met, they became good friends. Vash and D. Wolfwood is possibly the best of partners in any anime I have ever seen. But all in all the main characters are very likable and goofy and entertaining. But the insurance girl's reasons for tagging along with Vash is stupid, but not pointless. Now let's move on to the animation. Now I know what some of you guys are going to say, oh the animation's old and you know, it's not really nothing to look at. But there is another way of looking at the animation. The animation looks old, yes, but it suits the series because Trigun is a cowboy anime. I would have said Western anime, but I didn't want to confuse you guys with, oh this is a Western anime, not as in an anime for Westerners even though it is, but a Western as in a cowboy anime. Yeah. Anyways, yes, the animation looks old and grainy and isn't as clean as today's anime. But in my opinion, this actually suits the series. Now, hear me out on this. When I think of cowboy movies, I think of how gritty and old they are. Let's compare Trigun with the good, the bad, and the ugly. They look alike, don't they? Trigun's animation feels like an old western, so over time it's actually fitted into its genre. It's an anime first, yes, but it's also a western. In my opinion, I think it's aged like a fine wine. And I know what some of you are thinking. Wait, what about the movie? Well, yes, the movie isn't grainy and gritty because it came out a few years ago, but it looks the same as the series. It kinda still has that old look about it, but upgraded. Vash's philosophy comes into play again, where he saves the life of a thief named Gasbag, and by saving Gasbag, people have died. So yeah, we get more of that. And if you're wondering where the movie takes place in this series, well, you have two options. You can either, 1, watch it as a standalone film, or if you're wondering where it takes place in the series, then 2, the movie takes place between episode 11 and 12. Now let me talk about the music. I'm just gonna say it and everybody knows it. The opening is freaking cool. And if you can't tell, I'm using it for background music. Just listen to that guitar. Damn, that's cool. Trigun's soundtrack is pretty good. My favourite is probably Never Could Have Been Worse, because this music is when shit goes down. You know this is when Vash is putting on his badass face. For example.
That's him. The Devil's Helper who single-handedly reduced a city of 1 million people to ashes. The legendary outlaw, Vash the Stampede, is just over that hill.
And the rest of the soundtrack is pretty damn good too. Trigun anime was made by Studio Madhouse, and for some reason didn't get that many fans in Japan than it did in the West. Maybe it was a cultural thing or something, but even though it flopped in Japan, years later a movie of Trigun was made for Western fans. Thank you, Japan. My final thoughts on this series is that even though it's not perfect, but hey, what isn't? It still holds up after all these years. Vash's philosophy is questionable because if he saves even the bad guys, those bad guys will end up killing other people. But even saying that, Vash will be there to stop them from doing any more killings. But you know what? It's not a bad philosophy, because if everyone valued life as much as Vash does, then the world would be a better place. That's the upside to his philosophy anyways. And those of you who don't know, the Trigun anime doesn't strictly follow the manga. There's quite a few things they changed, but I think Trigun is one of those rare anime that even though they didn't strictly follow the manga, it's still entertaining and works. But if I was given the option of getting an anime of Trigun that follows the manga all the way through, then I wouldn't mind seeing that. If you're one of those people who doesn't like the old style of animation, then I don't think you're gonna like this. But saying that, I strongly suggest every one of you who hasn't seen Trigun to go and watch it. Why? Well, because it's a classic and bloody good. The dub is pretty good too. So it's suggested to watch it in dub, then sub, because all the voice actors do a good job, especially Johnny Young Bosch as Vash. Its tone is great, the characters are likeable, especially Vash. The setting is mellow, it's fun to watch. I give Trigun a 10 out of 10, with a must buy and add to your collection. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook and Tumblr. I'll see you guys next time.
After all now, this land is made of love and peace! Love and peace! Love and peace! Love and peace!
What is he doing? Come on now, you gotta write the company report. Hurry up!
Love and peace!
End strife
Insurance Company report, 4 months and 12 days after receiving our orders for the insurance investigation, we achieved contact with our target, the man called Vash. Contact with our target, the man simply known as Vash the...
Love and peace!